Wine is no longer just an object of enjoyment. It is now a serious investment commodity. Credit Suisse research analyst Dan Scott is with us to give us some tips on seeking out the best wine investments. Dan, whereas previously people would buy a few cases of wine, store them in their own cellar, watch the value increase and then drink a few cases or sell a few cases, it's now a serious investment market. What's driving the change?
Yeah, or drink it all. And I think a lot of the people who collect wines probably still do collect it in order to enjoy it themselves. I think what's happened is that people have started to appreciate that in a portfolio context, wine can also play a role. And so we've run a correlation, for example, with wealth creation. We found that currently about a quarter of high net wealth do own wine collections, and there is a market for fine wines, investable wines. There's a benchmark with the Livex 100, and wine provides an opportunity to invest and also to have returns, either by collecting the wines themselves or through some sort of a financial market application.
You define wine as a passion investment. Is it really stable?
Yeah, it is a passion investment. We see it as a passion investment, just like art is a passion investment. And broadly, passion investments can be seen as real assets, like equities are real assets. And the attraction there is that in times of high inflation, and if there are concerns for inflation, passion investments will do well. They provide protection to inflation. So the historical analysis also shows that wine has been a good investment. If you had been invested in the Livex as part of your portfolio, actually over the past 50 years, you would have done very well. In an efficient frontier analysis, even, you can see that passion investments might have been a better way to position your portfolio than some other alternatives. So yes, we do see that it is a serious investment, and if done properly, it can actually be beneficial for your portfolio.
Are there certain risks, though?
Yeah, there are many risks in investing in wine, as there are risks in investing in all other asset classes. One of them, of course, is gaining expertise to the wine investments, who you rely on to tell you which vintages are the right investments, and storage, of course, is a concern. Liquidity is very low for wine, not the physical asset, obviously, but the tradable asset. Liquidity there is quite low. And other implications as well that make wine investing perhaps more difficult than investing in more traditional asset classes.
We've seen that wine consumption has gradually trended higher over the past 10 years. Which countries are responsible for this?
Yeah, well, on the one hand, there's overall consumption, and you're right, that does trend higher. It took a bit of a hit after the financial crisis, but overall, the hectoliter consumption in the world keeps trending higher. The U.S. is still the biggest wine market overall. In terms of fine wines and investable wines, what you definitely see now is a trend for Asia and China in particular to have an impact on prices for fine wines. The Chinese, for example, have a real liking for Lafite, and Lafite prices have seen real volatility depending on buying patterns in China for Lafite. So those are trends that are emerging, and we consider that because wealth will continue to grow, that the price support will be there longer term.
So what's your advice for would-be wine investors then? How do they get started, and do they really have to enjoy drinking wine to invest?
Yeah, we think for all passion investments there needs to, and that's why we like to call them passion investments and not real assets. We call them passion investments because we believe people should only be invested in these art or wine if they really do have a passion for the asset class, and the dividend of enjoying ownership of the asset class is something that they appreciate. Otherwise, for collectors that don't have a strong knowledge in wine, of course there are a number of other financial markets opportunities to gain exposure. There are a number of funds run by fund managers who are expert sommeliers and who have been following the wine market for a long time, which provide a way to gain exposure to the asset class.
So how much do you really need to invest? Can investors at all levels profit?
Well, we certainly don't believe it should be a major part of any portfolio, but as a portion of the alternatives within a global portfolio, we feel that it can play a role. And depending on how you want to invest in wines, of course, from very small denominations is a possibility.
Thanks, Dan. For more information on market movements and global trends, check out News and Expertise on the Credit Suisse website.